Recording.
Thank you. So I'd like to call a regular council meeting of Tuesday, June 10th to order and respectfully acknowledge that this meeting is being held on the traditional territory of the Cauca people. There we go. So, may I have approval of the agenda as presented? Councilor Tidbury, Councilor Texel seconded. Sorry, Councilor Dugas. All in favor? Carried. We have the minutes of the regular council meeting held May 27th for adoption. Moved by Councilor Tidbury, seconded by Councilor Smith. Any errors or omission? All in favor? Carried. We have delegation of Shams Alabaha, Executive Director, Immigrant Welcome Center, Christine Salzman, Program Lead, Welcoming Communities Coalition, and Laura Kamenker, Co-Chair, Port Hardy Welcoming Committee Coalition.
Just working on getting them in.
Regarding an update to council. We know you're there, we're just working on getting you in.
Laura, Sarah, Lee, James, and then that's it, right? Okay, we're good now.
So welcome. Oh, there you are.
Hi, did you want us to start?
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you.
I think my executive director, Shams, is going to say a few words first, and then I will do the presentation, and Laura will say a few words after. So I'll let Shams go ahead.
Good evening. I hope you are all well. Thank you so much for enabling us to participate in your meeting today. My name is Shams Salibai, and I'm the Executive Director for the Immigrant Welcome Center. We had a wonderful visit up to Port Hardy and Port McNeill a couple of weeks ago during Mother's Day. We had the potluck luncheon there, and we're very excited. We now have a staff person at the NIAF's office in Port Hardy, and we also have a space in Community Futures in Port McNeill. We are in the process of recruiting a new staff member to join us, and we really appreciate being able to speak to you today and being able to support the community. So thank you.
Thank you.
And my name's Christine Salzman. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the program lead with the Welcoming Communities Coalition. I'm presenting to you today from the unceded traditional territory of the Comox First Nation, who are traditionally known as the Pentlatch, Aixen, Hahe, Saplut, and Tsatsitla. Thanks again for the time. I'm going to share my screen now so you can see the presentation. 1 minute. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay, 1 second. So yeah, I think that some of you might remember that Julie, my former colleague Julie Cambajan, and I first came to a council meeting in the fall of 2023. So we wanted to connect again to let you know what our Welcoming Communities Coalition has been up to of late. And just as a reminder, our Welcoming Communities Coalition is a local immigration partnership primarily funded by Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada. And ALIP engages with multiple organizations, supports community level research, and helps ensure that services meet the needs of local newcomers. So IWC has operated in Campbell River for more than 30 years. And in 2022, IWC opened an office in Port McNeill to better serve communities in the Mount Waddington Regional District. And then the coalition began to work in the Mount Waddington region in 2023. So there's now a really strong and supportive Mount Waddington Coalition Working Group made up of a diverse group of organizational and local government representatives. We have representation from yourselves, the District of Port Hardy with Louisa and Naomi, and then the Vancouver Island Regional Libraries, and you see Laura is here today, and then Island Health, Mount Waddington Family Literacy Society, Pacific Care, Quatsi Economic Development Limited Partnership, Port Hardy Chamber of Commerce, Town of Port McNeill Rec Department, and the Tourism Port Hardy. So a little bit of a snapshot of immigration in Mount Waddington. You may already have an awareness of the 2021 Stats Canada data around population and immigration numbers. The 2021 data doesn't really capture any people who have arrived on the island since then, such as anyone who came under the Canada-Ukraine Authorization for Emergency Travel Permit program. And when we look at our client data, it's important to note that not all immigrants feel they need settlement services or know that there are free settlement services available. Oh, sorry, I just closed my notes. And in the 2023-24 fiscal year, IWC supported 53 unique clients and provided 164 services to those newcomers. So then on to the recent work. We recently hired a local contractor to conduct some exploratory research around newcomer needs and gaps. This work includes a survey for newcomers who lived here for 5 years or less, and then one for long-term community residents and one-on-one interviews with service providers. One of the challenges was connecting with newcomers, those who've been here for 5 years or less. Only 15 immigrants responded to that survey, so the results are more of a snapshot. But one of the things we wanted to share was that of those surveyed, 20% described their sense of belonging in the community as very strong, 40% as somewhat strong, 13% as somewhat weak, and 27% as very weak. And then 53% that said within the past year, they sometimes felt alone or isolated in the community, with 20% saying that in the past year, they often or always felt alone or isolated. And of those who feel isolated, most said they did not feel they had enough friends and their families far away. And when asked what helped respondents most in feeling settled and happy, they listed making friends, having family support, and their involvement in the community. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't move that slide. So
Yeah,
there's that slide there.
Oh, it's
So-
frozen.
Sorry?
It's all good. I was wondering if it was frozen or not, but
No, it's up here now. Is it okay if I move on to the next one, or did you want to look at that one a bit longer?
Didn't get that. Could you try again?
Sorry?
No, move on.
Okay, go on to the next one. Okay. So in the survey of long-term residents, 53 Mount Waddington residents participated. 85% agreed immigration has had a positive impact in our community. Nationally, studies show that positive feelings around immigration are declining, though. Public support for immigration nationally has been grounded largely in the belief that it contributes to the country's economy. So for 2 decades, studies have shown that a decisive majority of Canadians have adopted this view, but there are rising concerns that immigration levels appear to be eroding this consensus. Public judgment about too much immigration tends to be driven by concerns around housing affordability, but also state of the economy, overpopulation, and increasingly about how they feel the immigration system is being managed. So in both surveys, around 20% of respondents, so both the new 5 years or less newcomers and long-term residents, said they'd experienced discrimination in the past 5 years. And more than half of those who experienced discrimination said they're unlikely to report it and would instead deal with it on their own. So I wanted to mention the Racist Incident Helpline, which is through the province of BC and United Way. We want to raise awareness of this. The helpline connects any callers to resources, and it's also really important to report incidents of racism because the data enables groups such as ourselves and others to apply for funding to raise awareness and provide anti-racism education. What local service providers are seeing. So our research contractor did one-on-one interviews with service providers and interviewed 11 service provider organizations in the Mount Waddington region, such as North Island College, the library, recreation departments for Port Hardy and Port McNeill, financial institutions. So the main challenges identified by service providers who see newcomer clients are language barriers, knowing where to refer newcomers, including settlement services, which means we need to do a better job of raising awareness of our own organization, and then seeing the need to help them make social connections. And so how we are trying to address some of those gaps and challenges is we have a language instruction for newcomers program. So that's our adult English language learning program. We have, as Shams had mentioned, we're opening office space in Port Hardy rather than primarily only being in Port McNeill. And then the Potluck series, which I'll talk to you about shortly. Our Mount Waddington Coalition has primarily prioritized social isolation and social connection and anti-racism education. We're Resilience BC Spoke, which means we have some funding through the Resilience BC Hub to do work related to anti-racism and intercultural sharing in Campbell River and Port Hardy in the Mount Waddington region. So in March, we invited BC's Office of the Human Rights Commissioner to Port Hardy to run an experiential discrimination workshops, a systemic discrimination workshop. And then my former colleague, Michelle Willard, came up to help facilitate that. And I'm not sure if some of you had a chance to go there. I know there was also an economic forum at the same time. Participants were led through an imaginary scenario where they experienced to some extent what discrimination would be like. And then in March, April, May, and June, including just this past Sunday, we hosted the cultural sharing potluck events. And using Resilience BC funding, we hired a contractor in Port Hardy who's overseeing the logistics. But the whole community was welcome, not just newcomers. And the event aims to help people make social connections and learn about different cultures through food. And then in terms of some of the results from that, we did collect 52 evaluations at the first 3 events, which was really great that our contractor was able to get that many evaluations from attendees. And 100% said yes to I met new people in my community at this potluck series. 96% said that being a participant helped them feel more connected to their community. And 92% said yes to I learned about a new culture or cultural practice from this potluck series. So we're really pleased with those results. And then your last slide here. So there are reports and studies nationally that show how a sense of belonging and community involvement strongly influence newcomers' decisions to stay in smaller communities. And this was one of the drivers for the potluck series. So our Resilience BC funding ends in this summer, and we hope to find funding to continue the program in the fall or winter. One possibility is the Plan H Community Connectedness Grant through BC Healthy Communities. And this requires a municipal or regional government partner as the primary applicant. It's our hope that the district may be willing to partner with us in our efforts to continue the Cultural Sharing Potluck series, to continue to build community connections. So we'd love the opportunity to discuss maybe the possibility of partnering on the Plan H grant with you and your staff. And that's it for the slide, but I know that Laura wanted to say a few words, so I'll let her take it from here. And I will stop sharing.
Christine. Oh, thank you, Christine. And thank you for hosting us tonight, Council. Most of you know me, Laura Kamiker with the Vancouver Island Regional Library. I've been on the steering committee for the Welcoming Communities Coalition, and it has been just a tremendous collaborative process and bringing all these agencies together. And the potlucks have been wildly successful, more than we hoped. There was actually, at each of these potlucks, there's been a more diverse crowd than I've ever seen in Port Hardy. More diversity than I knew existed in Port Hardy in my short 6.5 years here. I had never seen such a diverse group of people gathering. And as we all know, nothing brings people together like food. So it just has a very relaxed and friendly and warm and welcoming atmosphere. And I know that everyone here is very invested in being able to attract and retain people in our community. And this to me is exactly the kind of initiative that does that makes people feel welcome and makes them realize there is a community of caring people here. They're not just all alone. Especially coming to a town where it can feel like everyone already knows each other. It was wonderful to be in a space where we were just introducing ourselves and to people we had never met and just sharing food and a wonderful space of the evening together. So it's been really exciting and successful, and I'm hoping that the district will be our partner when we apply for this grant. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Laura, and thanks for speaking from the heart too, because I know I was rushing through my slides a little bit, trying to cram all the information in. And I don't know what the process is. Did you want or have time to ask any questions of us, or do we just present? Or
Oh, we've got some time to answer or ask some questions. Councillor Tidbury?
With the federal government new policy on immigration, cutting back on immigration and things like that, is that going to put any sort of kink in the operation?
Yeah, we did receive budget cuts already. You may have noticed I mentioned that like my former colleague Michelle Willard came up in March to do the systemic discrimination workshop. Unfortunately, that was one of the positions that has been cut. And I know Shums could probably speak more to how some of the cuts have impacted immigration sectors. But we really I really value working with the Mount Waddington Coalition with Laura and all the other people in the community who have come together for this group to talk about anti-racism education and social isolation. So we really want to continue this work, and that's why we're looking at some other grant opportunities. so that we can
Yeah.
continue doing some of this programming. And then settlement will still continue under a different budget line.
And I would just say that, you know, as a racialized person, when I was there a few weeks ago and I met people that have come from many different parts of the world and that have actually lived in Port Hardy for quite a long time, you know, it was a bit sad to kind of hear how isolated and how difficult their journey has been. So that makes me think that we really do need to be at the table, and we're trying to find alternative ways of continuing our presence in the community there, because I think it's really important. And no doubt the diversity in terms of the skill sets that these individuals bring, their diverse, you know, economic input, their cultural, linguistic, all of that contributes to the community in a large way. So we're trying really hard to see, in spite of the cuts that we're having, how we can continue to be there.
Thank you. I'm still interested in being on your committee too, by the way.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, we'd love to have you. I can send you an email, for sure. I know you came to some of our initial community forums.
Yes.
But if you'd like to be on the committee itself, yeah, we'd love to have council
Well,
representation.
I'd be like to actively take a part in it at somewhere
Okay.
down the line.
Fantastic. We're taking a bit of a break in meeting for now until we we might actually meet to talk about additional funding if the Plan H opportunity doesn't come through. But yeah, I will email you for sure.
Thank you very much.
We're hoping to, if we get the funding, to restart the potluck series in September and run, if we could, monthly from September to May. That would be the ideal if we can swing it.
Did you have any in the submissions to Louisa? I did include a little bit of information about the Plan H grant guidelines. Did you have any questions about that? I know you'd probably have to go and discuss if you want to partner with us on the application. I'm a little curious about the process there.
So we don't normally make a decision right away. We do discuss it. Just a couple questions. The District of Port Hardy has partnered with other organizations on the Plan H in other reiterations of the Plan H. What the other organization did was mainly do up the grant and then came and made sure that district was fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
That be what your plan, no pun intended, would be?
Yeah, we're looking at the Community Connectedness Grant specifically, which is a grant for up to $5,000. And I know that the district, you applied for the other larger grant. I think it was for a 2023 project. I saw the video that you did summing that one up. Yeah, so I talked to Naomi Heath, and we could do the majority of the legwork on the grant, but there are some questions that the district would need to answer as an applicant as well.
Right, okay.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much for coming and the presentation, and I have seen all your notices about the potluck, and unfortunately, they've been always on a Sunday where I've either been out of town or otherwise committed, but if this goes ahead, I will make sure I can get to as many as possible too.
That'd be great. Thank you.
That would be wonderful.
Thank you.
No, thanks so
Okay.
much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Good
Yeah.
night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Doing good work in the community.
They are.
Yeah.
Community.
Valuable.
Okay, we have our council action item report for May 27th for information, comments, questions. New business, but not correspondence from the Honorable Premier David Eby, Province of BC, regarding the UBCM convention for information. Comments? We are presently, for those interested, making a list of the different ministers and ministries that we want to advocate for our community. We have from the Honorable Rabbi Cavan, Minister of the Ministry of Housing and Municipal Affairs, regarding small scale multi-unit housing information. Comments? We have from the Honorable Tara Fanchel Bagnell, Deputy Minister, Local Government Division, Minister of Housing and Municipal Affairs, regarding proposed legislative amendments to expand regulations for local government closed meetings for information. Any comments?
Just, I didn't, I guess maybe this is, I didn't see something that was monumentally new, to be quite honest, to us.
If I could, they're having a session on Thursday, I believe this week, for introducing all of the potential changes for closed meetings. Not a lot of it will fall under the sections that we probably don't use as much, including the freedom of information and protection of privacy regulation. But there's be changes in it.
And we have from Ian Dillinger, President and CEO, Interfor, enlisting our support regarding urging our federal action on softwood lumber at the G7.
This is definitely something I think we should write a letter in support of, without question. It affects us big time.
Big time, and I know,
No,
that. Councilor Tipper,
I'll second that.
moved by Councilor Techno, second by Councilor Tipper.
It should have it there by June 5th, but they'll still accept it.
Oh, absolutely, we can send it by email, and I think too, we can expand a little bit on the,
Make it our
Draft.
on the draft, it's pretty simple, but I think we can expand it ourselves. And, also copy it from MLA Ravi Palmar, Minister of Forests.
Mhm.
And, yeah. Reiterate how important forestry is and softwood lumber is, and, I know we
investing in communities.
investing in community is huge. So we have a mover and a seconder. Any other comments? All in favor? Carried. We have a draft minutes of the Emergency Planning Committee held May 26th for information. Comments? No? We have our draft minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting held May 27th for information. Comments? We have our Finance Department check and EFT listing report for May 2025 for information. Pretty straightforward.
See lots of EFT.
EFTs. All good.
Nice.
We have our no current bylaws or resolutions, but the pending bylaw number 1164-2023 amendment to zoning bylaw number 1010-2013. And then council reports. Councillor Robertson.
Oh.
That's what I did.
Too bad. I'm not prepared. So it was, quite time since last time I was, I went and along with Councillor Gorwood to the Kofi briefing, with the Committee on Forest Industry, or Council on Forest Industry briefing last Thursday, and was interesting and had some interesting information about what's happening in BC, and that what is being harvested is well below the annual allowable cut. I think the AAC is about 49 million cubic meters, and the latest harvest was about 31 million cubic meters. So there's issues there, and again, emphasizing the volatile nature of what we're going to be looking at in terms of softwood lumber for the next 6 months, year, possibly more. So, I mean, they put as good positive a spin on it as possible. But, yeah, we're facing challenging times. And I'll let Councillor Dore would elaborate on that. I was able to, after that, attend the Van Isle 360 lunch, which was huge, actually. It was a really good lunch, and it was interesting and seeing all the sailors there, and was able to watch watch everybody leave from the restaurant at Glen Lyon. Get a full view of the bay and
Nice.
but all the sails were white and gray. Do you know why that was?
Because of the direction of the wind, they couldn't put up their, spinnakers,
Oh, okay.
which I learned a lot.
Anyway, that was interesting and great. And there were lots of people who were quite complimentary about Port Hardy and our mayor as well. So I was also able to, I'll let the mayor go into a little bit more, attend a meeting today with Minister Ravi Callum.
No,
Farmer, yeah. And just talking about forestry in our area. And we just presented, and the mayor presented a number of issues that are of forestry related and directly concerned to our community. And it was a last minute thing, and I know Pat can do more. So that, and I was also able to attend the finish of the Hardy Hustle and see our own counselor, Brian Texas. First overall, again, for the second time in a row. Third. Sorry. Apologies, deepest apologies. But close behind Brian was David Burrows. And then not far behind David Burrows was the first woman crossing the line. Trina. Tira. Sorry, Trina.
I think Tira was second, was she not?
Yeah, she was.
Was
She beat David.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Tira ran an amazing race.
She didn't even look like.
No joke, when I got halfway to the ferry terminal and I came back, she was the next person coming,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh.
So
She's a good runner.
I just wanted to let people know that all of those three people are alumni of Robert Scott Elementary School.
It's true. It's true.
I should have gone there.
It turns into a runner. Anyway, that's me, and congratulations, Brian,
Thank you.
and all the runners that did it, and the people that put it on, because it was a pretty festive atmosphere down there. So thank you, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Counselor Dore.
Well, I never go first either. I don't think I go second either. So. I attended the BC Salmon Farmers Annual General Meeting, which was in Campbell River. The attitude and atmosphere was super positive. They're feeling really good. So both the board and the Coalition of First Nations for Finfish Stewardship, they both spoke about how positive they're feeling for the future. And CWest News was there, and I've got a quote from them. After years of being targeted by activists and sidelined by Ottawa, First Nations cultural leaders, First Nations aquaculture leaders, scientists, and politicians are rising in unison to reclaim salmon farming's rightful place as a pillar of food security, economic renewal, and Indigenous reconciliation. And it is all of that, and that's farming and the future looks bright. There's nothing been changed or anything, but the feeling is very bright, and so that continues. I felt really good to be there. So
Good to hear.
I also attended the BC Council on Forest Industries meeting with Councillor Robertson. And yeah, one of the points that really stuck out to me was the cutting permits. They also had 4 points that were the challenges, and the cutting permits were at the very top of it. But the cutting permits in 2016, there were 2,355 applied for and 1,895 approved. In 2024, that was basically like 1,000 less applied for, 1,312, and 1,000 less approved, 799 only. In 8 years. That's awful. That's like more than 50% increase. And
Literally.
It's interesting the number that are.
so as
Did they mention a lot about the process of getting permitting? Cause I know that was a big talk before.
Yeah, they
About
said,
all the requirements to get the permits was just say so onerous that a lot of people just couldn't meet it.
so there's a lot of work to be done, and this is the heart and soul of the British Columbia economy, is
Yeah.
logging, you know? It needs work and it needs work, like, I think we should have meetings, as many meetings as we can with the minister and the staff of the forest.
Yeah, there's an efficiency that can be achieved that is being worked on. I think
Yeah.
the mayor will talk.
Good, oh, because yes, you know. Oh, and then the other point that really stuck out for me too in that Kofi meeting was BC's attractiveness for investment versus wood supply security. BC is like in the basement. Even other parts of Canada are up here, other parts of the world are up here. We are like way below and alone on that scale. It's not,
We can't attract investment because you can't get any permitting.
yeah, it's just unfathomable where we're sitting right now. And that's what pays for all of our schools and hospitals and healthcare and all of that. So,
Another industry targeted by activism and all.
absolutely. So, all right, so those were the big ones and yep, did the Hardy Hustle. Decided we would just have fun and we did. We just chilled out. We stopped at every aid station and we drank. Felt like we were doing shots. It's just Gatorade, but little tiny cups of Gatorade station.
You need more than one.
Yeah, exactly. It was fun. And then, so it was super well organized. Once again, like it just comes off without a hitch and nice, so many people in town support it. Just, I think as many people volunteering for it as there are in it. So it's great. And I think too, I want to point out, you know, adding the 10K to it was really good. There's a lot of people doing the 10K and it's
Yeah.
a very doable distance. Cool. And yeah, I attended the Van L 362 and that was great. And yeah, huge crowd of people there. And now I've been following it as they go around and huge leg they did from Winter Harbor to Ucluelet. And
The
winds. Yeah.
Oh, they're getting wins, all right.
Yeah. Pretty exciting
Crazy.
stuff. That's it for me.
Especially on that side.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you down there real quick.
Counselor Dexmall.
Not a ton to report. I got down to the Van Al to check out, bring the boy down and see the sailboats, and it's pretty cool. It's really awesome. They stop in here and make it a part of their journey, and it's pretty crazy how far their steps are for their journey. Like to go even like around here all the way over to Winter Harbor. Like I couldn't even imagine even just doing that in my fishing boat. let alone a sailboat.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. And then yeah, the Hardy Hustle was amazing. It's so well planned. And then just the vibes of it. Everybody knew about it. I had people come up to me and like a couple of the runners basically right off the bat, like David Burrows and a couple others, like, yeah, we're gunning for you this year. People know about it. And it was definitely the most challenging out of all the three. I was behind most of the race. Guys were at one point I was looking down at my watch and we were pushing 4-minute kilometer paces
That's
for
pretty
a good
good.
3 kilometers. And I'm thinking in my head, either these guys are that good or they're going to gas out eventually. And I just got to stay with them. But it was great. And then just to come across the finish line, have people there and snacks and everything and all the volunteers along the way passing out Gatorade. Like, I don't think people realize how important it is to have that stuff like
Yeah.
while you're running and pushing it, especially on a hot day, like the hot windy day, which to me is the worst conditions to run in, but beautiful run, just really hot and windy. And then, yeah, everyone's so positive and cheering everybody on, even though you're pretty well dying out there. But yeah, it was great. So thank you to you guys and all the volunteers and everybody that put the time in. I know it's a lot, and then organizers and the companies that donated to it. So it was good. It was a great event. And I think next year I might drop down to the 10K and go head to head with Alex, because he's super fast, and I think that would be a good showdown. So yeah, he's a very fast runner.
He's a very bad.
Yeah, yeah,
Fine.
Zell out there,
Fire.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
super fast. So other than that, that's it for me.
Counselor Dugas.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I've got too much to report, other than the fact that we just found out that BC Housing has just opened up applications for seniors housing for us, so for the Community Housing Fund, and it opened on May 30th, and it's kind of like first come, first served, so we're quickly trying to put together our package for that application and getting a lot of support letters from Indigenous nations and our groups and our support groups in our community. And thank you to the mayor and council for their support. And we'll be pounding that into that application and hopefully we'll hear something positive. Celebration of Seniors Week, June 1st to the 7th, and I had the opportunity of going to their, I guess it was called the Seniors Week celebration, and which was a day celebration at the Civic Center. And that was on the 4th, and it was a great all-day event. And there was quite a few people there. They had some people there, different service groups and stuff like that, all there. It was all set up really quite nice. And they had a speaker there, Denise Wozniak, and actually she's from the Lower Mainland. And she was there and she was talking about ageism, how to be proud to be a senior. And she had a lot of interesting things that she mentioned. And some of the funny things that she mentioned was she said, remember when they came up with wrinkle creams? And everyone, all these older people wanted to get wrinkle cream. She said the crazy thing about it, they sold more to 30-year-olds than they did to the age. Because everybody wants to be young. And the other interesting thing that she said that I thought was quite interesting, IBM is in a court case from 2018 on, and they're still in court. And it was called Get Rid of the Dino Babies.
Yeah.
And what they were doing was they were going through the company and they were getting rid of all the people of certain ages. And 60% were dismissed from the company because of their age. And they only wanted young people working for the company because that was discrimination. They've actually been taken to court about it. And they're still in the courts with that. So, and the other interesting thing that she was saying, so what do you classify as old? And she said, okay, when you're younger, what's old? And then she said, oh, yeah. Well,
Changes.
like when you're a kid, right? It's 21. Oh, you're old when you're 21. You get to drink or whatever. And then it goes on and on. But when you get in your 70s, what's old? Well, you never pick usually your own age. You always go above that. Oh, yeah, somebody 90, that's old. But it's all in perspective, right? It's all how you feel, really. And it's all about being proud of what you are. And one of the things that she found that was very interesting is that people would always ask her, well, you're getting up there. When are you going to retire? And she said, well, retire? Why do I want to retire? Still working. I'm quite happy to work. I'm going to keep working. And she said, yeah, be proud of what you are, because if you can still contribute, why would you talk about retirement? So she kind of brought it out. It was kind of like being discriminative. If you say to somebody, well, when are you going to retire? When really it's up to that person. Retirement is only based on how you feel. It really shouldn't be about age. And unfortunately, I'm glad that the federal government finally said, you don't have to retire at 65.
So you wanna know how you know when you're getting old? Ask your children.
No. Yeah, because he'll always say,
Yeah,
you're old.
They'll always help you.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
But anyways, and I guess one of the other things that she mentioned with regards to people and how they look at you as you get older. And some of the younger people were sort of talking to her like, well, and it was a kind of a conversation she was having at a meeting or whatever. And this person was always referring to her as, oh, well, she's old. She, way back when you're talking about, back in the 30s, well, she should know all about that, right? And they'd make that comment. And so she said, okay. So one day she got the tape measure thing out and she rolled it out. She said, okay, so where you are? Well, I'm right here. And then, okay, roll it out to my age. So I'm over here. See how much more experience that I have and what more things that I've learned in my life that I could share with you. So take it in consideration that older people, not necessarily, sure, they might be older, but they've got a lot of experiences they can share. And I think one of the interesting things she said about that was the respect that we have for our elders in our communities and how we treat one another is all based on, a lot of times is from your culture, because Indigenous people hold their elders very esteemed. And so do the Japanese culture. They hold their elders in very esteemed and they take care of them. And she said, we as, I guess, Caucasians sort of we kind of think that when people get old, you put them in an old folks home or whatever, and you take care of them. But she said it should be more of a family caring, and those older people, they should be having time to be able to share their stories of their life and their experiences. And I think that that's something we could all learn. Sharing those stories with other younger people. And I think that's really good to mix the age groups up rather than, and we had talked about that today when I had a meeting with Heather and the mayor. With regards to, how do we perceive moving forward with regards to seniors in areas where they live? I think mixed age groups sometimes is probably better than putting all the old people over here and put all the young people over here. Maybe they should be more mixed, because then it's sharing, right, and caring. And it's more of a community then, rather than not being. I think that she had a lot of great things to share with us, but she says, just because you're old doesn't mean you don't have a voice. You have a voice. And we should be proud of that voice. And if we have something that we really care about, it was kind of funny. She says, get them all together in a bus and send them down to the MLA's office and bang on the door and sit out there and say, hey, we need this, because they need to hear our voices. And we shouldn't be afraid to speak up what we really truly believe that's necessary for us and the future, right? Think about the future, because God willing, everybody's going to get old, and everybody's going to have to be in a certain situation to be able to have those cares, right? To be able to be, for people to take care of us and be a part of that. So if we can be a part of that, building the future, I think that's really important. She was very interested in our seniors advocate, David Levitt, and actually John brought it to her attention with regards to reaching out to him and saying, okay, he's supposed to be the seniors advocate. How is he advocating for us? I think we should use him more. Like, really talk to him and say, hey, okay, you're the advocate. What are you doing for the seniors up here? What are you doing for us in our communities? So that's one of the things on my hit list. I mean, it's like, he's probably not gonna like that, but
It's been here.
yeah, I know. We had him here in the office. He was really great.
I love it.
Well, I don't know about that much.
Well,
No, a French kid. Oh, I know, John. Gotta be careful how you use that.
yeah, okay.
And the Hardy Hustle, awesome as always. I was fortunate enough to be a volunteer standing on the road waiting for people to come. And I got to see Janet and my daughter-in-law Jody. They're coming down the road. And I'm trying to think, who is that? People with the funny looking dresses on. Jeez. I figured out. And then when they got really close, I didn't have my phone. I was gonna take a picture, and then I'm too late. They went way back.
Thing one, thing two.
Yeah, that was pretty cute. Very cute, very cute. Yeah, it was very well done, and yeah, and the lunch for the Van Mile 360, that was pretty amazing. That was like stunning. When you come into that hallway, and it's like no room to sit. Even the place was absolutely. How many people?
270? No, close to 350.
Yeah, it was close to, yeah.
There was a lot of people. There was a lot of people in there. Was there?
That is the
Oh, wow.
capacity. Wow.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
And it was great to see Calvin out there and that group and the dancers. The dancing was absolutely fantastic, and everybody was pretty excited, right? I had a chance to talk to, I can't remember, what's the name of the gentleman that was leading out?
Jeff?
I guess it was Jeff. Yeah, he was at the front anyways, and I had an opportunity to talk to him for a minute, and I said, man, you guys, we are so fortunate that you guys come here and you stay for 2 days.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, you convinced them to do that, I guess, or somebody did. Somebody convinced them to stay for 2 days here in Port Hardy, and that was just fantastic. I mean, that really makes a big difference in our community, right? And everybody's so excited to see the sailboats come in. And it was pretty cool. Driving down the street, you see all the people walking around, all the stores moving around. It was like, yeah, it was pretty amazing. So good job, everybody. It was fantastic. Thank you. Sorry for dragging it out.
There's no hockey game on, but you know.
Tomorrow night.
Not so Tidbury.
Well, I'll start off with the seniors. The seniors that it was a great day insofar as all the groups came out, like the RCMP, the Coast Guard. We even had Seven Hills there.
Yeah,
It
that's
was,
pretty cool.
it was just a fantastic, and the information that they were giving out was great too. And we had a free lunch too. Lunch was awesome. And we can't say enough about the speaker. And I had time to talk to her later. We had a good little laugh at different things. I keep telling you, you know, I'm the old guy in the council, and we had a little laugh over that. But but other things I did, I did the forestry one. I left about halfway through, and they started talking a little bit about the 45 and how they're going to get it eventually up to the 45 cut. And then I was at the Van Isle 360. I had to make sure I was there to make sure that we had some sound there too. So
Thank you.
that was a tremendous show. And because I guess a lot of them had been there before and they knew the guy with the white hair, they were coming up and just saying how pleased they were to come here. The response, my chest was getting bigger and bigger as they were talking about Port Hattie, and they were talking about the mayor and her speech and how how they felt welcome here. It was tremendous. That they were overwhelmed with and we can't say enough about Nika and what she has done to this 360 event. You know, like she organized the boats down in the for parking and things like that. She needs a big pat on the back. The other things I did was the Filmy Days. Filmy Days
Oh, right.
from my area is going well. Like
Yeah,
that
chest is big.
the parade is got and it looks like it's going to be a good parade. Nothing long, and the fireworks are all organized. We got all the certificates in order, and they're doing the fireworks setup now. And the only little hiccup in there is when the float that I'm going to use is half submerged in the water.
Oh.
Tougher to light them underwater.
Yeah, it's very tough to light under the water. But everything else about the senior thing that Dennis talked about, this lady was fantastic. And yeah, she really hooked me up there for a while.
Any relation to Stella?
I don't think so. No,
But it was
no,
interesting, your
no.
name, like this is.
So that's me. I didn't want to be too long.
Better Homes, I guess, actually, the other community trends.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were the ones that organized.
Yeah,
and put it all
North Island
together.
Rights Council.
Big time,
job,
big time. They need a thank you to you.
Big
too.
job, big job. Actually, very well done.
Yeah, it was well done.
Councilor Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. May 28th, we had our Filmy Days meeting. Things are coming along, and then we're meeting again tomorrow. So expect to see some letters to council. Will be probably for the next meeting. June 1st, I had to unexpectedly travel to Vancouver, so I missed our great Hearty Hustle. I was so looking forward to it, and of course the Van Isle 360, but I needed to be elsewhere. So June 6th, I attended the Virl board meeting in Nanaimo, and the executive director, Ben Hyman, he has been swiped to go to Vancouver. So he did such great work for us for, I think, 4 years. He's
3 or 4 years.
yeah. He has a full complement of staff. So when he first came and the financial distress that it was in, he wore multiple hats of directors, director of finance, executive director. He did everything. So he has trained them all, and so it should be left in.
Have they hired anybody to replace him yet?
They have an interim plan, using current staff, and then once the AGM comes up, they'll probably look at posting.
Okay, good.
But yeah, no, they have a good capacity, and yeah, at the end of the fiscal year, they'll be in that good position with cash reserve funds. You know, the cash is what the reserve funds are, so that's good. And the executive director, Ben, spoke very highly of our CAO and collaboratively working with the municipality. So that's always good to hear that we're working. It's so important to collaborate. So that was nice to hear. And June 10th, we had our Bear Smart meeting. So there's going to be a summer campaign to watch out for, with the chance to win a Lomi if you are Bear Smart. So stay tuned for that coming up this summer. So bears are out already, so
Yeah.
all the wrap lines so we can help correct human behavior, not the bear's behavior.
Somebody just posted on Facebook there. I think it was out Quaggy, with one of the residents, there was a cub on top of their car.
Oh no!
Sitting on the top of the car.
Better view.
Definitely.
Yeah.
They're out and they're busy.
Yeah.
And that's it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. So I've been actually kind of busy this week, or last couple of weeks. So with our CAO, attended our North Island Community Forest AGM, and that's going well. And hopefully we'll have some news to report in the upcoming few weeks about different things that may be happening. Can't talk about it quite yet. Attended mayors and chairs update on the drought, wildfires, and water restrictions or water conditions. And I mean, up here, we're okay. However, it can change like that. And when you look at what's happened, Campbell River has a fire that's been held. One in Port Alberni, that's been held, another one between Port Alberni and the Nanaimo that's out of control, but not any worries, not any interface to be worried about yet, but you never know when things have changed. Squamish, the state of emergency that's been declared by the town or the city, and it can change in a flash. Just noting that our wildfire danger has gone from low to the next level. So with these winds and the dryness, I don't know if anyone's poked their finger in their soil lately, but
Pretty dry.
it's pretty dry, so just be careful. Pretty hassle. Congratulations to our Department of Recreation on performing an amazing organizational job on organizing the volunteers, organizing everybody. Congratulations. Big pat on the back. Congratulations to our staff, Louisa that ran, our counselors that ran, but all the other members of our District of Fort Hardy employees that ran too. And I talked to one that ran, who had done a 10K before, did a 10K, and it's talking about next year doing the 21.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and so many kids that ran too in the 10K, and just really well done. And it's a privilege to go down there and see everybody cross the line and say congratulations. Because what a great thing to do. Did the Canela Culturally Supportive Housing meetings and slowly working through different things. The Seniors Day event was great to go to. I couldn't go to the whole day, but what I went to was really nice. Having all the different vendors there was so good, and finding out what different people are doing and tried putting and I knew I didn't like golfing and I still don't like golfing, but I was forced to putt. And so, but it was just having the different vendors there was great. Had a mini manicure.
Mhm.
Now that they're dirty because of gardening, but Port Hardy Farmers Market, had their first market this past weekend and there was a fair number of people that went through and some new vendors and
I busted this time.
and a busker was there too, and there was young woman that just moved to town that was doing live drawing while she was down there, and
Oh, cool.
yeah, no, it was really, really interesting. Had twinning meeting today and getting organized and getting ready for our debts that are coming. Attended today the integrated safety forum talking about how to keep our community safe and as well, everybody in the community, whether you're on the downtown area or not in the downtown area. So it's how we can all work together to make it better. The Van Isle 360 and everybody that worked together, thank you very much. Our Department of Recreation, Anika, our CAO, just everybody that worked so hard to make sure it went smoothly. The coloring contests that Anika started that at the
Mhm,
last
that's really cool.
one,
That's
and
cool.
it was so neat to see all the voters going around and voting. Really enjoyed. I went down when they came in. I went down incognito and talked to different people to hear the stories.
Mhm.
And then I incorporated some of those stories in my speech, which was it was kind of cool, you know, not only commiserating with the people that broke their leg or broke their ribs or had, you know, the boats that were out of the race because they broke their sails or did some kind of major damage. And but as well, my favorite story was about the Ripple. And that's a two-handed boat that only so only two people sail on it. And before they limped into Campbell River thinking they were out of the race because they'd done some serious damage. And then managed to sail and get to Port Hardy in time to continue on with the race. Yeah, so pretty amazing. They were pretty tired. They were glad they had 2 nights to be able to sleep. So it was really, really good. The lunch was amazing.
Mhm.
Having Calvin come and do a speech and as well having the Quagga dancers, some from the high school and some from Fort Rupert Elementary School, which just added a nice touch to it. And just as a little side note, Calvin and Marie are in Singapore right now, and they had one of Calvin's poles are put up in the Cloud of Forest. I think it's what
It's a pretty fancy place.
And Air Canada put them on business class.
Yeah, Air Canada sponsored Calvin and Marie to go over
Isn't
there.
that cool?
Yeah, so they had lots of sponsors, but I'm pretty sure it's called Cloud of Forest, and just Google the garden.
Singapore, yeah.
That is just amazing, absolutely amazing. It's very cool. And then today, Counselor Robertson and I, at very last minute, were able to have a visit with the MLA Parmar, who is the Minister of Forests, and where it's a little longer than our speed dating ones at UBCM or ABS, but we could talk about our art permitting and really trying to push to get it done. And him and his assistant took notes. They would get back to us and talked about the delay and how our CAO and others would send emails, phone calls, and no responses. And they are going to be working at trying to make it more efficient and better. And talked about other project that we're not even pushing yet, that we have not heard anything on, but that we have this time sensitive project that we need to get done, but we have this other project that it's been waiting, but that we have not heard anything. We talked about permitting and efficiencies and he said that's been worked on. Oh, what else? We talked about Kofi and that I was pretty sure that would be approving sending the letter, and did he want to be copied on it? And he said, absolutely. And I brought up about the community forest and expanding, and that he's aware of our desire, and he said they're looking at all community forests, and they realize the value of community forests to the community. And I came away from that meeting feeling kind of optimistic about all the advocating we've been doing for our community forests. That's it in a nutshell. Yeah. All right. Information and announcements. We've got coffee with the mayor coming up, Garden Day. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I would just like to make a correction to the date and time for the Tourism Advisory Committee meeting.
Oh,
It is on 18th at 1 p.m.
okay, thank you. So, June 18th. World Elders Abuse Awareness Day, Tourism Advisory Committee, which is on the 18th. And then our next council meeting is on June 24th. We have no notice of in camera and motion to adjourn. Councilor Smith. You snooze, you lose.
I know, I'm getting outdone now.
Any questions?
Must be the old age.
Is there anyone online? No. Any questions? Sean?
No, okay. Hopefully, mayor and council, you sent a support letter for the softwood lumber. As you're aware, today, Shemanis, Western Forest Products, is laying off 55 down there at the mill because of lack of fiber and this tariffs with Mr. Trump. So it'll affect up here with that. And, the other comment I'd like to specify is on the Minister of Health, Josie Osborne. You're gonna send a letter to her regarding the helicopter service up here, ambulance service. So the helicopter here at the end of July. I don't know if you're aware, but yesterday's headlines, the government, I was quite shocked, the provincial government's implemented back in to cover stay for out of town families with their kids going to Children's Hospital. I thought it was always there, but I guess not. They're gonna bring it back in. So that'll affect us up here. If your child gets sick, you gotta go down there. So maybe with that letter, you could just add that to it, make sure she's going to implement that back in for out of town families, you know.
So just absolutely, we can look at that. The implementation for that, they still have out of town services for families going down with their children. But they're shortening how many stays you can have in
It's
Vancouver.
50, yeah,
Yeah,
they've got it back to 15.
telling us that part. I just seen the headlines come up.
Yeah, so it's the
Yeah.
number of days that you can be down
Yeah,
there
it was
that you
just
get
kinda- I
assistance.
thought it was always there.
It has been,
Yeah.
and they changed it and reduced it. The number of days, so it has been there, but,
Yeah, because where we live, it's limited resources.
yeah.
And you gotta go down there. That's where you gotta go, right?
Yeah.
So with your kids, yeah. Okay, that's all I gotta say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Night, everybody.
Good night.
And I think isn't the next hockey game on Thursday?
Yes,
Yeah.
there's Thursday.
Yeah.
The only reason I know that for sure is John was worried about this. Game on Wednesday. I'm sure they did.
Yeah, Dennis. You got luck with
Not
this.
ten, maybe.
That's
my fault.
Too much, but I was able to.
Oh, yeah, they'll float it. They'll float it. And it's, there it is from the end.